what do you do when you have I guess you could say, a dying animal? You do what you can to ease its pain and put it out of its misery. I wish we could do the same for Twitter. Now, why would I want this for Twitter, you may ask? It's very simple. Twitter's a dying animal right now. Now, some of you may be asking, why do you say that? They came out with recently, I think within the last week or so, with a Trust and Safety Council. Because Jack Dorsey, the CEO of Twitter, basically wanted to make Twitter a safe place to express ideas. And I really believe he has screwed himself over on this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like a place where I can basically say my point of views, my ideas, and yet not have to worry about somebody, causing some kind of commotion that's not really needed. Basically saying, well, you need to die and all that. But yeah, like I said, he created a trust and safety council, which, like I said, on paper actually does sound good, because there are people who use Twitter and other social media sites to try and send threats of one kind or another. However, telling someone that you have a differing opinion, that's not really harassment. Why? It's very simple. If you look back on life, America has always been a place where people who had differing opinions stopped and said, okay, let's talk about these different opinions and see how we can try and apply each and every one to try and make things better. Once again, for that to happen, you would need somebody who's basically, I guess you could say, able to take criticism, deal with criticism, and use said criticism to become better. And like I said, on the Trust and Safety Council, it does sound like a really good idea. But when you got people on there like Feminist Frequency, otherwise known as Anita Sarkeesian, yeah, that's not gonna really work. I mean, you really can't sit there and claim, well, she's all about conversation and she's all about conversation and people expressing their point of views and different ideas. When in reality, that's not true. Why? It's very simple. When people basically criticize her work, and I mean legitimately criticize, not threaten, not people who sit there and say, well, you stink, or like I'll admit that's something that everybody's allowed to say. The First Amendment basically says, unless like your words can inspire like some type of, I guess you could say, violent. That's how it is. But when you got somebody like Anita Sarkeesian, who refuses to address the criticisms that are thrown her way. How does that encourage freedom of speech? Because if you pay attention to her, she follows criticisms. She basically says that all criticism are either slanderous lies or they're misogyny made up by people who really doubt her credentials, which I, for one, truly doubt her credentials. I mean, she calls herself a critic, but if you pay attention, she doesn't really criticize games that probably deserve criticism. No, she points out games where nothing's really all that bad with them, but apparently to Anita Sarkeesian, she has the power to see the hidden truth, which we all know is a bunch of bull. It's actually sad. It's sad to see that, because, I mean, think about it. Rebel Media actually report that some time ago there was actually Twitter's value was at $55, and that was high. But now, because of the fact that they have the Trust and Safety Council, that's going downhill. And the sad thing about it is, I think, like everybody else, Jack Dorsey, he's going to end up setting himself up for one heck of a lawsuit. Now, why would I say that? It's very simple. The Twitter Trust and Safety Council. Going off, before I go any further, think back to I want to say August or October, somewhere between there. He basically said, and I quote, let's take that back. Back, I think, between August and October, two young women went to the UN to try and have the UN, I guess you could say, police the internet. Why? Because they felt threatened. Why did they feel threatened? Because somebody said, you know, you stink. You suck. Correct me if I'm wrong. Don't everybody get told that, you know, you suck at one point or another? But, I think it's actually very stupid. Like I said, I believe Jack Dorsey is going to set himself up for one heck of a lawsuit, because during that UN meeting, Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn basically tried to get the UN to basically put regulations and rules on owners of websites, basically making them the owners of the websites responsible for anything users put on there. Well, if that happens, if that was to ever happen, and this, like, let's go for a hypothetical here. If that happened and the United States government said, okay, from now on, all owners are responsible for every single user, then that would mean if somebody felt offended just because, you know, they viewed a viewpoint, they said a viewpoint of theirs, and they came up with facts, current, up-to-date facts, mind you, that proved their point, and somebody said they were offended by that, that would put the owner of that website in trouble. All for that person expressing their freedom of speech. Now, Jack, I hope you're listening to this, man. Jack Dorsey, I hope you're listening. I really think you're gonna end up getting one heck of a lawsuit. Because you're either gonna end up getting a heck of a lawsuit, or Twitter's gonna have, Twitter's gonna only have that amount of people that all agree on the same thing all the time, and that's not even gonna be enough to keep you afloat. I mean, when you got people like Anita Sarkeesian, who once again, rather than address the criticism made against her by both men and women, she claims it's misogyny. I mean, that just proves how pathetic Anita Sarkeesian is to me, but that's just my own thoughts. But I mean, apparently from what they're saying is, I mean, think about it. I actually have it pulled up right here on my computer. I'm looking at it right now. On the blog, I'll link this in the description. Twitter basically says here that it's basically formed the Trust and Safety Council as like a way to make people feel safe about expressing themselves on Twitter. Making people feel comfortable expressing themselves on on any social media site, I can endorse. I can back that. I can say, hey, you know what? That's cool. But to basically say, this person expressed their viewpoint, their freedom of speech, and somebody else found it harassing, well then the person who basically expressed their viewpoint has to go. Jack, in case you don't know, that would basically be infringing upon the First Amendment rights of every person who uses Twitter and everyone who's a citizen of the United States. I mean, it's kind of stupid, Jack. You're going to end up setting yourself up for one heck of a lawsuit. I mean, if you had people on there who were, I guess you could say, cognitive, who actually understood the difference between criticism and harassment, then that would make sense. But when you got people like, let's see, who's on the list? You got people like, let's say, I really don't know. Feminist Frequency. You got people like Anita Sarkeesian, Hollaback. Feminist Frequency and Hollaback. Those two go together like Abbott and Costello. Although the difference between Feminist Frequency and Abbott and Costello was actually funny and everybody liked them. Feminist Frequency and Hollaback, the only ones who like them are those who have the same mindset. I mean, think about it. Is it to the point that where, if I was on Twitter, I followed somebody and they said something that I didn't agree, I felt was somewhat wrong, and I went to look up facts, and I tell them, sorry, but you're mistaken, and here's the truth, and I submit a link. Are you telling me that just because I said I disagree, I would get kicked off of Twitter for that? Jack, trust me, I'm not on Twitter, but I want to help you. Get rid of this. Get rid of it, okay? Just get rid of the Trust and Safety Council. If you're going to really do it, investigate the people you select. Investigate them. Basically, sit there and say, hey, look, are you unbiased? If so, okay. But when you got people on there, like, once again, like Anita Sarkeesian, who basically, like, well, everyone who basically don't agree with me are misogynists. I mean, think about it. You have a woman on there who basically said everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is misogynistic, and you have to point it all out. Well, then, by her own words and her own admission, that would mean Anita Sarkeesian herself is sexist. Anita Sarkeesian herself is racist. Anita Sarkeesian herself is problematic, and I am pointing it out right now. But hey, it's just my thought. Like I said, I'm gonna link to a few videos that point this out. One being Mundane Matt's WTF Twitter's Trust and Safety Council. I'll put a link to that in the description. I'll put a link to Twitter's Trust and Safety Council is a disaster for free speech video by Rebel Media. I'll put a link to that in the description, and I will also link the blog upon which I am seeing right here. So that way, those of you on Twitter who feel, you know, it's complete BS can look this up and see who on here really deserving of being followed, who's really deserving of being a part of a council to protect the users of the site, and who's on there when you really know that they're going to push some type of agenda or propaganda. But like I said, it's just my thought. I want to know yours. Please, put your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think, and I'll see you later. Peace.